welcome to our channel. Very first video is going to be our introduction and shop tour. So I'm Emily from Southwood Design. I own and run this business with my boyfriend Jake. So we do this, or have been doing this, for about 3 years now. It'll be 3 years next month, and this is the first year that I have taken it full time. So hung up my corporate hat to do this, which is terrifying and also so extremely exciting. But one, we just wanted to document the journey of us growing as a business, take you guys along with a little more behind the scenes, some tips and tricks, and just so you guys can see the ins and outs of a small business. We love watching YouTube and watching other creators and business owners, one, just to get some tips and tricks, but also just like really follow their journey and see how their business grows and evolves over time. And for us, it has been insanely crazy how fast this business has grown for us. But also we have so many dreams and bigger visions for what this will become. And we really want to remember this. We want to remember this present day and us running it out of our house and, you know, really starting the business. Even though we're 3 years in, we know we have so much more to learn and do. So that's what I'm going to take you guys through today. So like I mentioned, we run this all out of our house right now, which I always joke, I don't know if Jake knew what he was signing up for when he agreed to help me run this business. But yeah, it's taken over our lives and our house. And one day it will be not in our house, but we'll grow into that. So I'm going to take you guys through the basement / shop tour. It's our unfinished basement, which is actually very convenient because we can just walk down the steps and go work, and then walk up the steps and be home. And then, yeah, you guys will get to see all of our tools, our spray room, our kind of like workflow setup, and how we work downstairs. So I'll take you guys through the shop tour. So let's get started. So here is just a wide view of the entire workshop. We have reconfigured this a couple times. This is definitely the best and most like use of space we've had in the shop. So I'll show you the wide angle, and then we'll take a look at like all the nooks and corners. And obviously we are working in this, so it's a little messy, but that's the reality of the shop. So we have a workstation first thing here. It is like, I would say, the most used workstation, especially when we're using anything with the miter saw. So framing, mosaics, we always seem to be on this station. We have a really big piece on there now, which is taking up the station. I would say it's about like 2.5 by 4.5 feet long. And then this is another workstation. We do a lot of our like larger cutting on here. So when we're cutting like rounds, using the track saw to cut off pieces from like larger pieces, especially this, like this will definitely probably be cut on that because it's just a larger area for us to use the track saw and things. We have all of our stains and glues down here. Again, just an easy place for us to access it as we're working through staining and assembling. And then we have a couple scrap piles. If you're like me, I cannot get rid of scrap. So scrap mosaic pieces. A lot of these are more of like the natural pieces that we like to save. If they're paint grade and they're smaller, sometimes we don't save them. But scrap pieces. We have some of our other, you can see we're a DeWalt family. We have our other tools, say like our track saw and our jigsaw, router. They all live in this little closet area that we took the door off. All of our like pencils, hammers, sandpaper discs, all of our jigs for circles live here. And then up here is where we have our tracks for our track saw living, 3 different lengths. And then wrap around here. So when Jake used to live here as a child, this was like a wood storage thing, like a firewood, sorry. Now it holds wood on top, but we keep our scrap birch plywood here from cutting rounds, again, smaller scraps from mosaics. And then these are just some of the mosaic pieces we've all like already prepped and sanded, just separated by size. So like this would be our paint grade, some like thinner, probably like 1/2 inch pieces, and then just some other miscellaneous scraps that we probably need to get sorted. Our wood stove, so we do have a wood stove that we have to use in the winter, so that keeps the shop nice and warm, and obviously also keeps our house warm. So that is down here as well, which is nice because I get cold very easily. Another workstation slash feed table for our table saw. So we have the saw stop. We keep our frames, when we cut down frames and herringbone pieces, underneath this table. Again, we just keep it wrapped and keep it organized. So I'll label anything that's our typical like herringbone cut versus the frames are wrapped and don't have anything on them. So we know what's under there. And then I work a lot in this area as well. So especially when Jake and I are down here together, he's normally on the first workstation and I'm normally over here. So my scroll saw area, again, sorry, it's very dusty and messy. I was working on shaping. My bench sander, which I do a lot of shaping, Dremel, you can see here what I'm working on, hopefully for an upcoming video on shaping. So I spend a lot of time here between like these two tables, and it is really nice to have the area around my scroll saw one so I can like do stuff like the flowers that have a lot of pieces, and it's very close to me. I don't have to like keep turning around and can really utilize these areas. I keep my blades and stuff under here, some scrap MDF underneath, and then there are some other shelves. I don't use these as much as I probably should, but if I'm like in the midst of a project and I need to like hide some things or get them out of the way, I'll stick them under here. CNC, oh, I forgot to show shelving. So I keep some of my must needed things for like scroll saw assembly, scissors, glue, you know, transfer tape, all that stuff. And these, along with my CNC bits, CNC poster when needed for bits and speeds. And then we have our CNC here, which is hooked up to our little vacuum and bucket underneath. So Jake quickly built this when we got our CNC. I think it fits so nice in this corner. And again, it's really nice for me. Say if I'm working on the CNC, I can program all that, get it ready, jump back to like the scroll saw or jump back to shaping while that's running. And it's very close and easy for me to get together. And then our dust collection system. So I'll be honest, Jake basically put this all together. So I do not know a ton of the pieces and parts. So if you want a breakdown of that, let us know. I'll have him talk through that. But I would say it works pretty well for us. You know, just kind of putting it together and buying the pieces individually versus like buying a full system. The hose that is detachable is like super helpful. So like I'll take the hose around and like suck up the CNC dust, or like it can go to the table saw. It can pull out to our planer when we pull it out. It goes right to our joiner. So I think it's the perfect spot for it based off of where we put everything else. And then our planer is on a movable cart, which again, like I said, is really helpful. So we really have only been using this right now when we do our frames just to get everything the same width. Just haven't done a ton of work where we needed it otherwise, but it is super helpful for that. So we'll just move it out, move the cart out when we want to use it, plug it into like our central outlet here on this pole and move it out and use it that way. And then our joiner, again, using this a lot for frames. So just getting our frames very square. We haven't done a ton of like table work or furniture or anything like that where we've needed to use it. I would love to like start doing more things like bigger backers with like hardwood and stuff like that, where we'll probably end up using it a little bit more, but we have it, which is great. And then here we just have our wall control panel with all of our air tools. So like our brad nailer, pin nailer, you know, air hose, that kind of thing, and our compressor. So that's kind of a tour of our shop. Again, we just wanted to document this because one, this has even grown a lot since we have started. But as the business grows, we just want to capture like where this has started in our basement, because one, we're like living in the business, but two, like to see the evolution of where we've come so far. It's going to be so eye-opening. So this is where we started, and we can't wait to see where we go with Southwood Design. So, okay, so now we're going to go into our spray room, which is this room right here. So we just moved our spray room to be this room maybe like a year ago, I want to say, year and a half ago. So we have some old kitchen cabinets that we turned into just kind of like this workstation. I do a lot of like my painting and sealing here just to keep it away from the dust, any dust in the workshop. And then I store some like backers that I'm working on current projects for with like the CNC and things like that, just to keep everything kind of here. But I really like this workstation just, again, to get away from it all. We got a light, which really brightens up the area. And then I joke that this is my Dexter Room, so our plastic covered spray area. So we have the fan for ventilation. And then I keep all my sprays underneath of the shelves, basically. One, so they're easy access. I try for the most part to keep them like color coded. I am pulling like some up front of my older ones that I'm slowly turning everything to the Montana color spray paint, but I have some like Krylon and stuff that I've had forever that I just need to get through. It is about the point where I need to change this, but this is just paper on top. So basically when it gets super dirty like it is right now from all the fuzz from my filler primer, I'll take this paper, remove it, and create like a clean new like workspace. And same with these. This is just kind of like a board to basically kind of like keep my spray a little contained. And then we have the fan for ventilation, which I just easily plug in here on the side with an extension cord. Just to keep everything ventilated in the house. That was the biggest reason why we had to move it. And I'll show you where it was a little later, but, because it's in our basement, we were getting like fumes up in the house and giving both of ourselves headaches. So yeah, we definitely had to move it, but this is our spray room. And then I think my favorite part, we have all of our like actual house paint and some gallons that we bought on sale here in this corner. But my favorite part, which is right here, is our enclosed drying room. So has a door, which is nice to keep temperatures controlled. We do put a space heater in here. Only issue we run into is our breaker cannot handle like this running and like say that in the CNC, it will trip the breaker. So I just have to remember when I turn it on or kind of plan out when I'm drying things. But then the PVC shelves, Jake built me these just so I could keep all my projects kind of separated and drying in here, just to keep it dust free and temperature controlled. This is super helpful in the winter when the house is really cold as well. And like days like today when it's like really muggy, the space heater helps keep some of the humidity down. But yeah, so spray and drying room, and then I'll show you the last part of the cold room. All right, and we'll turn this light on. So this is, we call this like the cold room. We're trying as much as we can to like not really use this for the business, but again, it's kind of happening. So we have our home gym like back there, so that really doesn't have anything to do with the business. It did, so all of the spray room that you just saw used to live there, but then we decided we wanted our gym to not live in this room because we were getting some more stuff for the gym. So the gym used to be there, spray room used to be back here, and it was just easier to like close everything off with the spray room in that room. So this then like became our gym. So lumber storage, rack storage. We had a lot of scraps. We still have a lot of scraps that I would just love to like get through eventually. Like this is kind of like our scrap pile. Yeah, I just need to find some projects for that. Again, another working station. So when Jake and I are working together, sometimes it's like we don't have enough room, or like both of us need to use the miter saw. So we did just get this small miter saw. When we get into pinches, we actually haven't even used it yet, but when we get into pinches that we need to both be working and like be getting stuff done. So this is kind of like a work in progress. Like I said, we were trying as much as we could like not to use this space because we have like storage for house stuff. But as we're like currently prepping the house to move eventually, we're kind of cleaning out and getting rid of some things. So it kind of opened up this space again where, you know, we can stick finished projects here, or things that are waiting to be framed. We can get in here, like these are just waiting to be framed. So I'm just like getting them out of the way and putting them in a central spot where like I can come back and frame a bunch of stuff at one time. But yeah, so that is kind of like what we run the business through. It's crazy. It's taken up our whole house. But again, I just wanted to document this part of our lives and our journey and show you guys kind of like where all of this comes from, because I think for running it through our house, like we do pump out a good bit of stuff. So yeah, there she is. All right, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. Biggest thing you can do, please like and subscribe and help us continue to grow this community and this channel. We are so thankful again for you guys showing up and helping us curate this community. It's crazy to see just how connected we are online, especially through like Instagram and Facebook with all our friends and family and customers. So we want to just continue to do that on this platform as well and share even more with you guys. So thank you again, and you will see me very soon in the next video.